pregnancy no one saw coming. Real stories of women who discovered they were pregnant during labor. These are the untold, shocking experiences of women who had no idea they were pregnant until they went into labor.
Imagine waking up one day with stomach pain. You think it might be food poisoning, maybe cramps, maybe stress. So you go to the hospital just to check what's wrong. Then the doctor looks at you with surprise and says something that completely changes your life. You're not sick, you're in labor. And just like that, within hours, you become a parent. It sounds impossible, right? But it happens more often than most people think. Today we're talking about something called cryptic pregnancy, a rare but very real situation where a woman is pregnant but does not realize it until very late in the pregnancy, sometimes even until the moment labor begins. This topic surprises many couples because pregnancy usually comes with obvious signs: morning sickness, a growing belly, missed periods, food cravings. But in a cryptic pregnancy, those signs can be so mild or confusing that the woman simply doesn't realize what is happening. Some women continue their normal lives, going to work, exercising, traveling, even drinking occasionally, completely unaware that a baby is growing inside them. Medical studies suggest that about 1 in several hundred pregnancies can go unnoticed for months. And in extremely rare cases, the discovery happens on the very day the baby is born. Let's talk about some real situations like this. One woman went to the emergency room because of severe stomach pain. She thought it might be kidney stones. The pain was sharp and intense, so she decided to get checked out. But after a few tests, the doctor came back with shocking news. She was not experiencing kidney stones. She was actually 40 weeks pregnant and already in labor. Imagine the shock. No baby shower. No pregnancy announcement. No 9 months of preparation. Just a normal day, suddenly turning into the biggest life moment imaginable. A few hours later, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Another story involves a woman who started feeling pressure in her stomach and lower back. She thought it might be digestive problems or muscle pain from work. Her husband drove her to the hospital just to be safe. When the doctors examined her, they realized something incredible. She was already in the final stage of pregnancy. Within hours, the couple welcomed a baby they didn't even know they were expecting. For many couples, moments like this are both shocking and emotional. Imagine the mix of feelings: confusion, fear, excitement, and sometimes even laughter later when they look back at the moment everything changed. But how can something like this even happen? How can someone carry a baby for months and not know? There are a few reasons. First, some women experience extremely mild pregnancy symptoms. No strong nausea, very little weight gain, and sometimes the baby's position hides the belly growth. Second, some women already have irregular menstrual cycles. So when their period stops or becomes lighter, they assume it's just part of their normal cycle. Third, stress and life circumstances can sometimes make the mind ignore certain possibilities. For example, if someone believes pregnancy is unlikely, they may interpret symptoms as something else: gas, stress, hormonal changes, fatigue from work. Another factor is hormone levels. Pregnancy tests detect a hormone called HCG. In rare situations, the body produces lower levels of this hormone, which can make early tests come back negative. That makes a pregnancy even harder to detect. But one of the most interesting parts of these stories is what happens after the baby arrives. Many couples describe the moment as life-changing. One couple said they went to the hospital worried about stomach pain and returned home the next day as parents. Another woman said she kept thinking the doctors were joking. She thought someone was playing a prank on her until she heard the sound of her baby crying for the first time. And in that moment, everything became real. For relationship pages like Couples Goals, stories like these remind us of something important. Life doesn't always follow our plans. Sometimes the biggest blessings arrive when we least expect them. Some couples spend years trying to have a baby. Others prepare carefully for every stage of pregnancy. And then there are those rare moments where life simply surprises you overnight. Of course, cryptic pregnancies can also be challenging, because the mother may not receive prenatal care during the pregnancy. That's why doctors always encourage regular medical checkups whenever something unusual happens in the body. But many babies born from these situations turn out completely healthy. And the parents often say the experience brought them closer together. Because in one single day, Their relationship moved into an entirely new chapter, from partners to parents. So if you ever hear someone say they discovered their pregnancy during labor, it may sound unbelievable. But stories like these show that the human body and life itself can still surprise us. Sometimes love begins with long planning. Sometimes it begins with unexpected news. And sometimes it begins in a hospital room where two people walk in worried about stomach pain and walk out holding a newborn baby. Life is unpredictable, but moments like these remind us that the most powerful stories are often the ones we never saw coming. And for many couples around the world, that unexpected moment becomes the beginning of their greatest adventure. If you enjoyed this story and you love learning about real relationship experiences, follow Couples Goals for more stories about love, life, and the moments that bring people closer together. Because sometimes the most unforgettable love stories begin with the biggest surprises.